This lesson picks up where the last one left off. In our previous lesson, we focused on the who, identifying the people and causes that will make up your legacy. Now we're moving to the second question in this 3-lesson series on distributions. How much does each person get, and in what form? This is where many well-intended plans quietly drift off course, not because the wrong people were named, but because the structure didn't age well. Life is going to change between now and the day your will is read. Your assets will grow or shrink, and the things you own today might not be there tomorrow. If your instructions are too rigid, they can actually destroy the very goals you're trying to achieve. By the end of this video, you'll know how to build flexibility into your plan so it stays strong, no matter what happens in the future. Let's start with a common scenario. Imagine 2 siblings, Alex and Jordan. Their parent wants to treat them fairly. The parent writes, "I leave Alex my house and Jordan my savings account." On the day the will is signed, those 2 assets have roughly equal value. Years later, though, the house triples in value, while the savings account shrinks after medical expenses. The parent intended to be fair, but that wasn't the result. Let's start with a foundational perspective. Fair does not always mean equal. Many people feel a heavy pressure to divide everything perfectly down the middle between their heirs. However, an equal distribution is a mathematical formula, while a fair distribution is a value-based decision. You might have one child who has dedicated years to caring for you at home, while another has a high-earning career in a different city. Or perhaps you have a child with special needs who requires a different level of long-term support. Or another child who may have received years of financial support already. Unequal distributions don't automatically mean favoritism. They may reflect reality. The key is being intentional and clear, so the structure reflects your reasoning, not assumptions others make later. Now let's look at the actual tools for how we write these instructions. The first major choice you will face is between using fixed dollar amounts and using percentages. This choice is perhaps most commonly where good intentions go wrong. Imagine your estate is worth $500,000 today. You want to leave $100,000 to your favorite charity and the rest to your children. This feels perfect right now. But if you were to face a long illness or need extended nursing home care, those costs could consume $400,000 of your estate. If your will uses a fixed dollar amount, that charity still gets the full $100,000 and your children are left with nothing. One strategy to protect your heirs from this risk is to use a percentage. If you give that charity 20% of your estate instead of a specific dollar amount, they still receive a meaningful gift, but your children will always receive their 80%, regardless of whether your total estate grows to $5 million or shrinks to $50,000. You can even include a cap if you want to limit the amount of a specific gift. For instance, I leave my favorite charity 20% of my estate, not to exceed $1 million. Using a percentage allows your intent to scale with your life, ensuring that your primary beneficiaries are never accidentally disinherited by changing circumstances. Now let's look at specific bequests versus general gifts. A specific bequest is when you name a particular item, like my 1965 Mustang, or my grandmother's engagement ring. These are wonderful for items with deep sentimental value, but they come with a legal trap called redemption. Redemption happens when a specific item you listed is no longer in your estate when you pass away. If you sell that Mustang, or if that ring is lost or stolen years from now, the gift simply fails. The beneficiary you named doesn't get the cash value of the car or the ring. They typically get nothing. To prevent your plans from falling through the cracks, you should include additional instructions, such as name an alternate beneficiary, name a replacement gift instead, or include a cash value or use a more generic description, like any vehicle I own at the time of my death. Then there are general gifts, which aren't tied to specific items. They're usually taken from the general assets of your estate. These are often handled in your residuary clause. Think of the residuary estate as everything left over. It is the catch-all part of your will that handles everything you didn't specifically name. By naming beneficiaries for your residuary estate, you ensure that even if you acquire new assets later, or if a specific gift fails due to redemption, your legacy remains under your control instead of following the state's default rules. Now here's a concept that protects both meaning and flexibility: naming alternates. Anytime you leave a specific gift, ask the general question, what if? What if this person isn't here? What if they don't want the item? Without an alternate, that gift may fall into the residuary clause or follow default rules you didn't choose. Naming an alternate doesn't mean you expect something to go wrong. It means you're finishing the sentence with an outcome you would want. And that leads us to one of the most important mindset shifts in estate planning. Being flexible is not being vague. Flexibility means your plan can adapt while still honoring your intent. Vagueness leaves gaps. Structure fills those gaps thoughtfully. Now, let's pause and ground this in perspective. Your will may be one of your final communications. Not because of emotional language, but because of outcomes. The structure you choose tells a story. It says what mattered most to you. It shows whether you thought about change, balance, and fairness over time. This doesn't mean you need to get everything perfect today. It means you're allowed to design with flexibility in mind, which means you might also consider how you want these gifts to be delivered. Do you want your heirs to receive their portion immediately, or would you prefer to mete it out in installments? For example, you could provide for a child to receive a portion of their inheritance on their 25th birthday, another on their 30th, and the balance when they turn 35. This kind of structure could provide a ladder of support as they grow and mature. So now let's turn this into action. After watching this video, you should understand that structure can quietly override intention. You've considered percentages versus fixed amounts, equal versus fair, specific versus general bequests, and contingent recipients for your gifts. Then, if you'd like to take the next small step, look at each person you plan to include as a beneficiary and ask, do I picture this as equal or intentionally unequal? Just notice your instinct, no math needed yet. Second, circle any gift you imagine as a fixed dollar amount and ask, would this still feel right if my estate were half as large or twice as large? That question alone may guide you. Third, identify any item that feels meaningful to give specifically. Then ask, if this item weren't there someday, would I want this person to receive something else instead? If yes, an alternate matters. And even deeper, if this person does not receive this gift for some reason, would I want someone else to have it? Included in the resource section are optional tools to help you walk through different scenarios and consider structures that may be right for you. You're not locking anything in today. You're choosing a structure that respects change. And that's how intentions survive over time.